My dear friend, I have a message today burning in my soul, one that heaven itself has stirred within me. You who are weary, worn, and wondering what to do next. You who are striving, sweating, and stretching beyond your limits just to stay afloat. Hear me, God did not design you to carry what only He can handle. He did not form you in your mother's womb so you could walk this earth in your own strength. He did not breathe His breath into your lungs so you could waste your life trying to control what He already promised to work out. There is a deeper truth, one that will set you free if you let it sink in. Just exist. Let God do the rest. Yes, that's right. Let that truth shake your bones. Let it wake your soul. You were never meant to fix it all. You were never called to be the savior of your situation. You were never expected to figure out every detail of tomorrow. God didn't create you to be the master planner, the architect of outcomes, the engineer of destiny. That's His role. And when you take His place, you break yourself under the weight of a crown you were never meant to wear. God says in His word, be still and know that I am God. That's not a suggestion, my friend. It's a command. Be still. Stop striving. Stop panicking. Stop analyzing every outcome until your spirit collapses. Just exist. Right where you are with all your questions, your pain, your confusion, and let God step in. Let Him take over. Let Him be God, because He's much better at it than you or I will ever be. You say, but preacher, if I stop fighting, won't I fall apart? No. If you stop fighting in your flesh, you'll finally make room for God to fight in your spirit. If you stop pushing in your own power, you'll see the power of heaven break through like a mighty wind. You are not falling apart. Child of God, you're falling into His arm. Oh, how many nights have you lain awake, staring at the ceiling, asking, Lord, what more can I do? And the answer from heaven is not more effort, but more surrender. Not more worry, but more worship. Not more control, but more faith. Just exist, my friend, exist. In the stillness of trust. Exist in the quiet place where God speaks. Exist in the sacred simplicity of knowing He is still on the throne. You say, but nothing is changed. Let me tell you this, just because you don't see movement doesn't mean God isn't working. When a seed is planted in the ground, it looks like nothing is happening. The surface is silent, but underneath, my God, underneath, life is exploding. Roots are growing, systems are forming, foundations are being laid. That's how your life is right now. You don't see it yet, but God is arranging everything behind the scenes. Don't dig up what He's planning just because you can't see the fruit yet. God does not operate on your timeline. He's not bound by your schedule. He's eternal. He is sovereign. He moves when the moment is right, not when your anxiety demands it. Some of you are exhausted, not because life is hard, but because you are trying to be God. Lay it down. You are a child, not the creator. You are a vessel, not the source. You are the clay, not the butter. Let that truth humble you and lift you all at once. The God who created galaxies doesn't need your hustle. He needs your heart. He doesn't need your strategy. He wants your surrender. He doesn't need your blueprint. He needs your belief. You've prayed and prayed, but you still don't feel peace. Do you know why? Because your prayer has been a monologue, not a moment of surrender. You've been telling God what to do instead of trusting what He's doing. You've been pleading for outcomes instead of praising Him. In the unknown, my friend, peace isn't found in perfect answers. It's found in perfect surrender. Just exist, breathe, trust, and let God do the rest. Some of you feel like giving up. You say, I can't take this anymore. Please, just breathe, Just breathe. Just what it means. But that's the point. You were never supposed to take it all. That breaking point you've hit, that moment where your knees buckle and your soul cries out, that's where God meets you. That's the altar of surrender. That's where your effort ends and His glory begins. God never performs His greatest miracles when you're at your strongest. He moves when you're broken, surrendered, laid bare at His feet. That's where resurrection happens. That's where transformation begins. Laid bare at His feet. That's why your soul is free to go. That's why your brain. The answer is this: stop trying to run your life. Lay down your weapons, hand over the wheel. You're not called to carry the cross alone. Christ already carried it up the hill. You're not called to earn His favor. He gave it freely on the cross. You're not called to micromanage His plan. He wrote it before time began. All He's asking you to do is exist in Him, abide, rest, trust. Oh, how glorious it is when a soul finally stops striving and starts resting in grace. Grace, not works, not effort, not performance, but the unearned, undeserved, unstoppable love of God that lifts you out of your mess and sets you on the rock of ages. That's the gospel, that's the truth, that's the power that will carry you through the storm you may be walking, through the fire right now. The bills are piling up. The diagnosis came back worse than expected. The relationship is falling apart. The job is gone. The friends have disappeared. And you're asking, where is God? I'll tell you where He is. He's right beside you in the fire, in the storm, in the silence, in the valley. He has not left you. He has not forsaken you. And He never will. The enemy wants you to think that your pain is proof of God's absence. But I declare to you today, your pain is the platform for God's presence to be revealed. Just exist, my friend. Stop asking God for the exit and start trusting Him in the process. He is refining you. He is teaching you to rely not on your intellect, not on your plan, not on your understanding, but on Him alone. Scripture says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own. And why? Because your understanding is limited, but His wisdom is limitless. Your vision is narrow, but His plan is eternal. Your strength will fail, but His power never does. You've tried it your way. You've leaned on your own wisdom. And where did it get you? Tired, anxious, frustrated, discouraged. It's time to release the illusion of control and grab hold of divine surrender. Your life is not a problem to solve. It is a journey to trust, a mystery to embrace, a story being written by the hand of the Almighty. Let me tell you something. Resting in God is not doing nothing. It is the greatest act of faith. It is an act of war against fear. It is a declaration to the enemy that your trust is not in circumstances, but in the Rock of Ages. It is a shout to the heavens that you believe in the unseen, that you walk by faith and not by sight. The world says hustle. God says abide. The world says grind. God says rest. The world says take control. God says surrender control. Who will you listen to, the noise of culture or the whisper of the Holy Spirit? One leads to burnout, the other leads to blessing. God is not impressed by how busy you are. He's moved by how broken you are before Him. He doesn't reward the self-sufficient. He lifts up the humble. Those who kneel in quiet surrender will be the ones who rise in divine strength. And some of you, you've been wrestling for years. Wrestling with anxiety, wrestling with fear, wrestling with your past, wrestling with your future. And God is saying to you now, stop wrestling and start resting. Stop fighting me, stop resisting the process, stop running in circles and start walking in obedience. Just exist. Now hear me, child of God, there is a power in surrender that you cannot fathom with your limited understanding. We have been taught in this world that power lies in effort, that control lies in action. We've been told from a young age that we must fight for everything we want, that we must wrestle with every obstacle, that we must strive for success, that we must be in charge. But I'm here to tell you that the greatest power you will ever experience comes not from fighting, but from yielding. The world tells you to take control, but God calls you to let go and let Him lead. What a paradox this is. You see, the moment you surrender your will to God is the moment you discover your true strength. The moment you stop trying to control your life and start letting God take the reins, that's when you step into the realm of His supernatural power. That's when you become a vessel for His glory, a channel through which He pours out His love, His mercy and His peace. When we try to control everything, we are bound by limitations. Our minds become cluttered with worry, our hearts become heavy with fear, and our souls grow weary from the constant striving. But when we release control and step into the unknown with God, we open ourselves up to the limitless possibilities that only He can provide. I want you to hear me loud and clear. You are not meant to carry the burden of this life alone. That's why Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. He didn't say, come to me and I will make you work harder. He didn't say, come to me and I will give you more tasks to do. He said, come to me and I will give you rest. And let me tell you, rest is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It is a sign of faith. When you rest in God, you're trusting that He will take care of everything that concerns you. Resting in God doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you stop doing it all on your own and let Him take over the parts you were never meant to carry. It means you trust His wisdom, His timing, His plan. It means you allow Him to fight your battles. It means you let go of your need to control every detail and open your heart to His divine direction. That, my friend, is where real freedom lies. Some of you I know are afraid. You're afraid of what will happen if you stop trying to control your life. I'm afraid of what might go wrong if you don't take charge. You're afraid that if you let go, everything will fall apart. But I am here to tell you today, nothing will fall apart when God is in control. What may fall away are the things that were never meant for you. What may break are the chains of self-reliance that have kept you bound. But God will never allow anything that is part of His plan to slip through His hands. You need not fear when you rest in His care. Let me tell you about the storm. There is a story in the gospel where Jesus and His disciples were caught in a terrible storm while crossing a lake. The disciples were frantic, fearing for their lives. They were rowing desperately against the waves, struggling with all their might, but nothing seemed to work. And where was Jesus? He was asleep in the boat. He was resting. He wasn't worried about the storm. He wasn't troubled by the waves. He wasn't panicking about the thunder or the lightning. Now you might say, how could He be asleep during such a terrifying storm? Because Jesus knew something the disciples didn't know. He knew that as long as He was in that boat, the storm could not destroy them. And when the disciples woke Him up, He didn't panic. He didn't scramble for answers. He simply said, peace, be still. And in that moment, the winds and waves obeyed His command. What did that teach us? It taught us that in the storms of life, It's not about how hard you row or how much you try to fight. It's about knowing that the one who controls the wind and the waves is with you. And as long as he's in your boat, the storm will not have the final say. It's not about your effort. It's about his presence. Just exist. Let God do the rest. You may feel like you're struggling through your own storm right now. The waves may be high, the winds may be strong, and you feel as though you're sinking. But I tell you, my friend, when you stop fighting on your own and place your trust in God, when you allow him to take the wheel, peace will come. The storm will not last forever. God will calm the winds, he will still the waves, and he will bring you safely to the other side. But here's the thing, you must trust that he knows what he's doing. You must trust that he's not asleep. He's never asleep on the job. He's never unaware of your struggles. He knows what you're going through. He sees every tear, every heartache, every prayer. And in his perfect timing, he will step into your storm and speak peace over it. But first, you must let go. First, you must trust him with the outcome. I know some of you have been carrying burdens for years. You've been trying to fix everything, trying to make it all work, trying to control the uncontrollable, and the weight of it is crushing you. But I tell you today, you don't have to carry it anymore. You don't have to bear that weight alone. God is calling you to lay it down at his feet. He's calling you to stop striving and start surrendering. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. I know it's terrifying to let go of the things you've been holding on to for so long. But God never intended for you to live in fear. He never intended for you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. The truth is, you cannot carry it, but he can. And when you trust him, when you stop trying to control the outcome, you will experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. I can feel it in my spirit. There are some of you right now who are at a breaking point. You've been fighting, struggling, trying to do it all yourself, and you're worn out, you're discouraged, you're ready to give up. But I'm here to tell you that the answer is not in doing more. The answer is in trusting God more. The answer is in releasing control and letting him lead you. When you do that, you will find the peace you've been searching for. You will find the rest your soul desperately needs. And when you rest in God, you will also discover that his plan is greater than anything you could have ever imagined. You see, your plans are limited. Your understanding is finite. But God's plan is perfect. It's filled with hope, filled with promise, and filled with purpose. When you let go of your own agenda and surrender to his will, he will lead you to places you never dreamed possible. He will open doors that no man can shut. He will make a way where there seems to be no way. Let go, my friend. Let go of the worry, let go of the fear, let go of the need to control everything. And let God do the rest. He will take you farther than you could ever go on your own. He will lift you higher than you could ever climb by your own strength. Just exist, stay in his presence, trust in his power, and watch him work wonders in your life. I want you to understand something, beloved, in the kingdom of God. It's not the strong who prevail. It's the surrendered. The world may tell you to strive, to push, to fight until you're exhausted. But in God's kingdom, humble, the broken, the willing to yield, that are lifted up. The truth is, when you fight to the point of exhaustion, you exhaust the very power you are meant to draw from. But when you surrender to God, when you trust him with the process, his strength is made perfect in your weakness. Do you know why? Because God does not need your strength to accomplish his will. He does not need your genius to fulfill his purpose. He does not need your plan to make things happen. What he desires is your faith. What he desires is your obedience. What He desires is your willingness to say, Lord, I trust you with everything. I trust you with my dreams, my hopes, my fears, my future. You stop trying to push through in your own strength. That's when His power will flood your life. I know this is difficult for many of you to hear because we've been taught all our lives to take control. We've been conditioned to believe that if we don't fight for ourselves, no one will. But let me tell you something, God will fight for you. When you are too weak to fight, He will fight on your behalf. When the battle feels too fierce, when the enemy is too strong, He will be your shield and His protector. Let me remind you of something. God does not waste His power. He does not waste His strength. When you surrender to Him, you are positioning yourself to receive the full force of His power. Do you understand what that means? It means that every battle you face, God has already won. It means that every obstacle, every enemy, every difficulty in your life, God has already overcome it. When you let go and let Him do the work, you are simply walking in the victory He's already secured for you. Think about it, my friend. How many of us have spent countless hours worrying, trying to figure things out, trying to make things work? How many of us have labored in our own strength only to see the fruits of our labor fall short? How many of us have fought battles that were never ours to fight in the first place? We spend so much time and energy trying to control things, and what do we have to show for it? Burnout, frustration, anxiety. But when we choose to surrender to God, when we stop striving and start trusting, that's when the miraculous begins to happen. I want you to look around you in the natural and the spiritual. You are surrounded by the evidence of God's divine orchestration. You see, God is always at work, even when we can't see it. You may think that your circumstances are hopeless, that your situation is beyond redemption, but that is a lie from the enemy. God specializes in the impossible. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who made the blind see, and who raised the dead to life is the same God who is working in your life right now. But here's the key, beloved. You have to stop trying to make it happen on your own. You have to stop wrestling with a plan and trust that God's plan is far greater than anything you could ever conceive. When you stop resisting God's will and start aligning your heart with His, that's when you begin to see His hand move in ways you never imagined. And let me tell you something else. God is never late. His timing is perfect. We may not understand it. We may get impatient. We may want things to happen right now. But God's timing is always perfect. The waiting is not a punishment, it's preparation. God is preparing you for what He's about to bring into your life. The longer you wait, the greater the blessing, the greater the miracle, the greater the testimony. How often do we hear people say, I wish I had known then what I know? How often do we look back and realize that the times when we thought God had forgotten us were actually the moments He was preparing us for something greater? The wilderness, beloved, is not a place of abandonment. It's a place of refinement. God is refining you, molding you, shaping you so that when His blessing comes, you'll be ready to handle it. I know it can be frustrating to wait, but I want to remind you that waiting is not in vain. God is doing something in you even when you can't see it. He is strengthening your faith. He is building your character. He is preparing you for the destiny He has already set before you. So do not grow weary in wallowing. Do not let impatience cloud your vision. Your breakthrough is coming, and it's coming at the right time. But I also want you to know this. When you stop striving, you also allow God to work in the lives of those around you. You see, when you release control, you release the hold you have over other people. You stop trying to make them change. You stop trying to manipulate outcomes. You stop trying to fix them. And that is when God can step in and begin to work in their hearts. There are some of you who are struggling in relationships, trying to change people, trying to fix things that are beyond your ability. I want to tell you today, stop trying to control them. Stop trying to change them. Release them into God's hands. And trust that He will do the work. God has the power to soften hearts. He has the power to break down walls. He has the power to heal relationships. But it is not your job to fix people. It is your job to love them. It is your job to pray for them. It is your job to trust God with them. And when you let go of control, you will see God work in their lives in ways you could never have imagined. This is not just about you and God, it's about you, God, and the people around you. Your surrender, your trust, your faith will impact everyone in your circle when you rest in God. When you stop fighting, you give others the freedom to do the same. You give them the freedom to trust, to believe, to rest. Your faith becomes a beacon to those around you, showing them that they too can surrender and let God do the rest. So let me ask you, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop fighting and start resting in God's promises? Are you ready to trust that His plan for your life is far better than anything you could ever imagine? If you are, then I tell you this, the moment you let go, the moment you surrender, you will step into the fullness of what God has for you. Just exist, child of God, just exist in His presence. Let Him do the rest. He will open the doors. He will fight the battles. He will bring the breakthrough. He will make a way where there seems to be no way. And when you look back, you will realize that the only thing you ever needed to do was trust Him. I want you to grasp this truth deep in your soul. God's plan for your life is already in motion. You don't have to orchestrate it. You don't have to manipulate it. Your part is to trust, to yield, to surrender. God is not bound by time. His plans transcend the limitations of this world. What He has promised to you, He will surely fulfill. His word says the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. But too many of us in our human nature feel the pressure to make things happen on our own. We feel control every detail, every outcome, as if God is somehow incapable of doing what He said He would do. Let me tell you, God is more than capable. In fact, He's the only one who is. It's time to stop striving against what God has already ordained. You are not in this alone. You are not left to your own devices. The Creator of the universe is working on your behalf, and His plan is perfect. When you stop struggling, when you let go of the wheel, you give God room to steer your life. I know it's hard. I know it's challenging. But remember, God's timing is never late, and His answers are always perfect. Some of you might be wondering, but what if I make a mistake? What if I miss the path? I want you to hear this. When you are walking in faith, when you are seeking God with a pure heart, even your mistakes are used for His glory. God's grace covers you, even in the places where you feel you've fallen short. God's power is perfected in your weakness. His grace is sufficient for you, no matter what you face. When you rest in Him, He rests in Him. He works all things together for your good. Do you believe that today there's a deep peace that comes when you realize you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders? You were never meant to The pressure that you feel, the worry, the anxiety, the constant striving is not from God. Those are the tools the enemy uses to bind you, to distract you from your true purpose. The enemy wants you to feel like it all depends on you. He wants you to believe that unless you control everything, you will lose. But the truth is, it's not all up to you. God is in control. And when you release that control, you open up your life to His miraculous work. I know that some of you are facing circumstances that seem overwhelming. You've prayed, you've hoped, and it feels like nothing is changing. But I want to tell you, beloved, God is moving behind the scenes. His silence is not His absence. Just because you can't see His hand at work doesn't mean He's not working on your behalf. God is not bound by what we see or feel. He operates in ways beyond our understanding. Sometimes He is using the very struggle you are facing to build you up for something far greater than you can imagine. Your pain, your struggles, your challenges, they are not wasted. They are part of the process. It is through the fire that the gold is refined. It is through the storm that the ship is made stronger. It is in the darkest night that the stars shine brightest. So, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like everything is falling apart, remember that God is using that very moment to prepare you for something beyond what you could ever dream of. Do you trust Him in the silence? Do you trust Him when the answers are delayed? Can you trust that He is still in control even when it seems like your world is crumbling? That is the challenge of faith. But I promise you this, God's plans will never fail. The world may disappoint you, people may fail you, but God's word is steadfast. His promises are sure. God is not asking you to carry the burden of your life alone. He's asking you to surrender it to Him. And when you do, you open the door to divine possibilities. That mountain you've been trying to climb, it's already moved. That valley you've been walking through, God is walking with you in it. The battle you've been fighting, it's already won. Stop trying to fight in your own strength. Stop carrying what you were never meant to carry. Just exist in God's grace and let Him do the rest. I want you to hear this. You are not forgotten. You may feel small. You may feel insignificant. You may feel like you're just one person in a vast world struggling to make a difference. But hear me. God sees you. He knows your heart. He knows your pain. He knows your desires. He knows the depth of your longing. And He has already prepared a way for you. But here's the key, beloved. You must trust Him enough to let go. There's a moment when you have to stop trying to control your own destiny. There's a moment when you have to release your dreams, your future, your struggles into His hands. And when you do, the floodgates of heaven will open over you. You will find peace that surpasses all understanding. You will see God's hand at work in ways you never imagined. Let me ask you, are you ready to let go? Are you ready to stop fighting? Are you ready to trust that God is not only able but willing to fulfill every promise He has made to you? I know it's hard. I know it feels risky, but that is the essence of faith. To trust in the unseen, to believe in the impossible, and to surrender completely to the will of the Almighty. So I urge you with all that is in me, just exist. Take your hands off the wheel. Stop trying to force the outcome. Stop striving for what God has already ordained. Let God do the rest. He will lead you. He will provide for you. He will fight for you. Trust in His perfect plan, His perfect timing, His perfect provision. And when you do, you will see the power of God at work in your life. in ways you could never have imagined as exist. Let God do the rest. The Lord calls us to rest in Him, not because He is unaware of our struggles, but because He knows we cannot bear the weight of our own lives. Too many of us are walking around in the shadow of stress, trying to carry burdens that were never meant for us to bear. We think we need to control everything, our finances, our relationships, our health, our future. We live as though we are the ones who have to make things happen. But the truth is, God is sovereign and God is good. He is working things out in the unseen, and He is far more capable than we are. You see, when we surrender to God, when we stop trying to handle everything on our own, we open up a space for His supernatural power to work. You're not alone in this journey. You don't have to worry about the how or the when. All you need to focus on is the who. And the who is the one who created the universe, the one who speaks and the winds obey, the one who holds your life in His hands. He is in control and He is trustworthy. The problem is that too often we focus on our circumstances. We focus on the things we can change. We obsess over our problems and give them more power than they deserve. But I want you to remember this: your circumstances do not define you. Your situation is temporary, but God's love and plan for you are eternal. He knows the end from the beginning. He is not shaken by your present trial. He's already working on your ways. But if instead of worrying about everything we can't control, we spend more time trusting God with everything we can't see, what if we spend more time acknowledging that He holds the future in His hands and He has already paved the way for us? Imagine the peace that would flood your soul if you truly believe that. Imagine the freedom you would experience if you took your hands off of everything, released your grip, and trusted God to do the rest. Some of you might be asking, how do I trust like that? How do I let go of my worries, my fears, my need to control? Let me tell you, it's a choice. It's an act of faith. You don't have to have all the answers, but you do have to make the decision to trust. Trust doesn't mean you'll never face difficulties. It means that when the storm comes, you know who holds the storm in His hand. Self-free. Doesn't mean you won't face moments of uncertainty. It means that you know the one who holds the future, and He is good. When you choose to trust God, you are choosing peace. You are choosing rest. You are choosing to believe that the one who called you, the one who saved you, is more than able to lead you to the place where He wants you to be. You don't have to figure it all out, just exist. Let God do the rest forever. I want to tell you, beloved, that God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So many of us want to rush God. We want to speed up His process. But God is not hurried. He is perfect in His timing. God does not make mistakes. You may be waiting on an answer, waiting on a breakthrough, waiting for a door to open. But I want to tell you, your waiting is not wasted. In fact, it is in your waiting that God often does His deepest work in you. He is refining you. He is teaching you patience and faith. Think about the story of Abraham. God made him a promise that he would be the father of many nations. Yet he had to wait for years. His wife Sarah was barren and the promise seemed impossible. But Abraham did not make the promise happen in his own strength. He waited, he trusted, and in God's perfect time, God did the rest. The promise was fulfilled. What God has spoken over your life will come to pass, not because you made it happen, but because God is faithful to His word. And I tell you, it is no different for you. God has a plan for you, a good plan, a perfect plan. You may not see the way right now, but God is at work. You may not understand why you're facing the trials you are, but God is using it for your good. And when the time is right, He will bring you into the fullness of His promises. You don't need to know the how or the when. You need to know that God is sovereign and He will make a way where there seems to be no way. There is a peace that comes when you surrender to God's will. It's a peace that surpasses understanding. This peace doesn't make sense in the world's eyes. The world will tell you to fight, to strive, to control, but God's peace comes when we stop fighting and start trusting. It comes when we stop striving and start surrendering. When you trust God to do the rest, you'll experience His provision in ways you never imagined. He will provide for you in the wilderness. He will open doors that no man can shut. He will give you strength when you feel weak. He will give you wisdom when you don't know what to do, but you have to let Him. And when you let God do the rest, you will find a joy that comes not from your circumstances, but from knowing that you are in the center of His will. Your joy won't be based on how things look on the outside, but on the peace you have on the inside. You will be able to walk through the storms of life with a song in your heart, knowing that your God is in control. The more you learn to exist in God's presence, the more you will experience the freedom that comes with trusting Him. The more you let go, the more you will see God at work in your life. When you cease striving, when you stop trying to do it all yourself, you make room for God to move in miraculous ways. You will see doors open, relationships healed, dreams restored, and the impossible become possible, all because you let God do the rest. I want to remind you today, it is not about your strength, it is not about your wisdom, it is not about your ability to control. It is about trusting in the God who created you, the God who loves you, the God who has never failed and will never fail you. Don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know how it's all going to work out. Just exist in His grace. Just trust Him. Let God do the rest. And when you do, you will find a peace that is unshakable. You will find a joy that is unexplainable, and you will see God move in your life in ways you never thought possible. He is faithful, He is able, and He will do the rest, beloved. I want you to understand today that God's calling on your life is not one of struggle, it is one of surrender. We are not called to battle in our own strength to carry the load of our lives without His guidance, and certainly not to try and control every outcome. The more we cling to control, the more we become enslaved to worry and anxiety. But the more we surrender, the more God's peace floods into our hearts and minds. There is freedom in surrender. It is when we surrender our will to God that we find our truest identity. Too many of us are living lives shaped by the expectations of the world, or even by the lies we tell ourselves about what we need to be. We measure ourselves by accomplishments, by what others think of us, by the material we accumulate, but God doesn't measure us the way the world does. His measure is love, faith, and obedience. He sees the heart, and when you choose to surrender that heart to Him, He begins to mold and shape you into the person He's always intended you to be. The truth is, we are all in desperate need of God's grace, and that grace is sufficient. When we rest in His grace, we stop trying to earn our place. We stop striving to prove our worth. God's grace is freely given. It is more than enough to carry us through every trial, every disappointment, and every challenge. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. All you need is to exist in His presence, and He will do the rest. Now, I know that some of you are facing overwhelming circumstances. I know some of you are standing at the edge of despair. How you'll make it through another day. You may be feeling the weight of the world pressing down on your shoulders, and the temptation to take control is strong. But I want to remind you of something. God has never left you when the storms rage. He is there when the path is unclear. He is guiding you when you feel like you're sinking. He is the rock beneath your feet. Trust in His presence and know that He is with you always. There is a reason why we are called to walk by faith and not by sight. Faith is not based on what we can see with our eyes or understand with our minds. It's based on the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And it's in this space of faith that we find God doing His greatest work. When we let go, He takes hold. When we step out in faith, He walks with us. The Apostle Paul in his letter speaks of a peace that surpasses all understanding. That peace is not contingent on our circumstances. It's not a peace that can be shaken by the storms of life. It's a peace that comes from the assurance that we are held by the hands of an almighty God. A peace that says, even if the world falls apart, I am safe in His arms. This is what it means to just exist and let God do the rest. It's not about putting your life on pause. It's about stepping into the flow of God's purpose for you, trusting that He is in control and letting Him lead the way. We often think that we need to have it all figured out. We think we need a blueprint, a plan, a strategy. But God doesn't work like that. He leads us step by step, day by day, moment by moment. He is not interested in giving us a roadmap of our entire lives. He is interested in our trust, our obedience, and our willingness to follow Him one step at a time. When we choose to trust God, we choose peace. When we choose to surrender, we choose freedom. When we let go of the need to control, we open ourselves up to the power of God to work in ways that we could never imagine. God doesn't just want to help you survive. He wants to help you thrive. He wants you to live with joy, with purpose, with strength, knowing that He is working all things together for your good. You're not just drifting through life aimlessly. You are a child of the Most High God, and He has a purpose for you. It's time to stop living under the weight of your own expectations. It's time to stop thinking that you have to make everything happen. God will do it. He will provide. He will make a way. Will open doors that no man can shut. He will protect you. He will strengthen you. Just exist. Trust Him with everything. Let Him do the rest. There are some of you who are waiting for God to move in your life. You've been praying, seeking and waiting for the breakthrough. And while you wait, remember this: God is never early and He's never late. He's always on time. His timing is perfect even when it feels like nothing is happening. While you wait, He is working in ways you cannot see. And when the time is right, He will bring the answer, the provision, the healing, the breakthrough. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult to wait when it feels like your prayers are unanswered, your efforts unfruitful, and your heart broken. But listen, beloved, God is faithful. He has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you, and He will not leave you in the wilderness forever. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep hoping. He will do the rest. The Bible tells us that when we are weak, He is strong. When we are weary, He is our strength. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to carry the weight of the world. Just exist. Rest in His grace. Rest in His love. He has promised to take care of you, and He will. He will bring you through every storm. He will bring you to the other side. And He will do it in a way that glorifies His name. And when you look back on your life, you will see that it was never your strength that got you through it. It was His. It was His power. It was His faithfulness. It was His grace. Let God do the rest. He will lead you to victory. He will lead you to peace. He will lead you to the fulfillment of the dreams He has placed in your heart. So today, I urge you, beloved, stop striving, stop struggling, stop trying to do it all yourself. Just exist. Let God do the rest. And as you do, you will experience a life of peace, a life of purpose, a life of power, because you are walking in the will of God. And there is no greater place to be as we come to the close of this moment. I want you to carry with you the truth that God is bigger than any problem you will ever face. He is more than able. Your situation, no matter how dire it may seem, is not beyond His reach. His hands are not too short to save. And His heart is always open to those who seek Him. Let go of the weight you are carrying, the burden of trying to control your life, the constant worry, the self-imposed pressure to be perfect. It's not yours to bear. Surrender it to Him. Just exist in the fullness of His grace, knowing that He will do the rest as you walk forwards. Remember this, you do not walk alone. The Creator of the universe walks with you, beside you, and within you. He is the light to your path, the strength for your soul, and the purpose in your life. All He asks of you is your trust and your willingness to follow. When you trust Him, when you surrender to Him, His power becomes your power. His peace becomes your peace. His victory. So let go the fears, the doubts, and the distractions. Let go the need to control, the pressure to have it all figured out. Just exist in His presence, in His love, and in His grace. And know that in that space, God will do wonders beyond what you could ever imagine. He will bring about the restoration you need, the breakthrough you seek, and the transformation you long for. Just exist. Let God do the rest, and watch Him turn your life into a testimony of His greatness.